Welcome to rSlash Relationship Advice, where OP discovers that his wife lied to him about having a baby that he didn't want. Man, I don't know where to go from here, so I thought I'd go to Reddit. My best friend, we'll call her Maggie, and I met our freshman year of college. We're now roommates and moved in together 2 years ago. In 2015, my best friend spent spring break a couple states away and matched with a guy on Tinder. When she came back to campus, she immediately told me about him and how amazing he was and how they only went out to dinner once. Edit, this was obviously a lie, but they were talking 24/7. I got super excited and asked to see a pic. That was the only picture of him she's ever shown me. Over the past 5 years, he's literally been her whole world. She talks about him constantly. She always has her nose in her phone. She gets clingy when he takes too long to text back. She cried to me a few times because she's lurked on his social media and seen he was around other girls. My roommate doesn't have social media herself. I'd asked a few times why they never met up again, and she said they're both too busy and don't have money for the trip. I even told her that he could stay with us and that would save some money. He sent presents and even flowers on Valentine's Day every year. They've basically been dating this whole time. So yesterday, my roommate picked up a shift at work and was gone. I get a knock on our door and I open it to a guy. He says hi and I give a confused hi? And then he barges in and scoops me up into a hug. He starts saying, "I thought you were working. I was hoping your roommate was here so I could surprise you when you got back." And I'm so confused. I immediately get down and back away and let him know I have absolutely no clue what he's talking about. My brain can't even process what's happening. Then he looks confused and says, "Maggie?" And I'm like, "No, that's my roommate." My roommate and I look nothing alike, so I'm even more confused. Then something kind of clicks and I think, oh my god, is this the guy she's been dating? So I say, "Wait, are you Adam?" And he gives me a very slow yes. And I get excited and say, "Oh my god, I bet Maggie's gonna flip out. I can't believe you're here." His demeanor completely changes. He asks me what I'm talking about. I'm Maggie, and I tell him no, I'm Summer, Maggie's roommate. At this point, I'm still completely missing something he's just pieced together. He just says, "Holy f***," and looks like he doesn't know what to say. Eventually, he asks if he can sit down. I invite him in. He then proceeds to tell me for the past 5 years, he thought he's been talking to me. Every picture he's ever seen of Maggie has actually been pictures of me. I'm completely dumbfounded, and we don't know what to say to each other at first. So he gets out his phone and shows me proof. He has tons of pictures of me he saved on his phone and went to their messages and showed me proof that she's been sending them to him. I felt and still feel completely sick to my stomach. I get out my phone and show him real pictures of her. I tell him maybe they could just talk when she gets off of work. And he's really pissed at this point. I say maybe we should call her first and let her know he's here. So I do that and she starts flipping out, saying she's not coming home. Tells him to leave and that she won't talk to him. He calls her and starts yelling at her over the phone. After everyone calms down, she eventually comes home. He's hurt and accusing. She's crying. I'm sitting there awkwardly. She tells him that she's still the same person he's had feelings for, and he screams at her, "No, I thought I was in love with your roommate." And that completely makes her break down, so I tell him maybe he should leave for the night and everyone should have their own space. He agrees, and after he leaves, she goes completely psychotic on me and starts throwing stuff around the living room. Tells me she hates me. I start crying. It's a mess. I left to stay with a friend and haven't been back, so I don't know what's gone down. I feel like I have no idea who the person I'm living with is, and I feel weirdly violated. Do I move out? Do I try to call her? She hasn't even texted me. I don't know how to deal with this situation. And then OP posted an update. "Thank you guys for all of your advice and comments. Many saying you've been in mine or Adam's position. It's made me feel better. I'm going to go ahead and post an update because I don't think there will be more of an outcome than this. I ended up having a phone call with Adam, mostly because I wanted to know about the pictures she sent. Turns out she sent pictures of me in my underwear and nudes that aren't actually of me or her. So we're assuming she got those from Google. He feels really bad and is actually having a hard time with all of this. I assured him I don't blame him at all for the underwear pics or anything like that. He ended up telling me that they actually have FaceTimed, but she would never show her face, only the top of her head and hair, which is dyed a similar color to mine. I never thought anything of this. Now I think it might be really weird. And her excuse was she felt like she looked bad on video and was self-conscious, didn't have makeup on, etc. He said he didn't think it was weird. I don't know. He also told me he's tried a ton of times to arrange visits to meet and she's come up with excuses every time. He said that he's mostly content to talk through text and over the phone up until this point. Also, he said he's going to try to reach out to her one more time to talk about everything, but that he's moving on. As for me, I'm not sure if I can break my lease yet, but I'm going to go ahead and move out and in with a friend until my lease is over. We briefly talked when I went to my apartment and she sort of half apologized, but is still pretty hostile and defensive. So I'm going to give her space. I feel bad for her, but I don't think our relationship is going to survive this whole thing. Anyway, this has been some crazy stuff, and I appreciate all the responses I got. Y'all are awesome. OP, I'm glad that you and Adam are both stepping away from Maggie because, oh my god, that woman is nuts. OP, I think you need to go to the cops and file a police report because this is majorly messed up. Our next Reddit post is from Throwaway for F's sake. For context on this next post, OP is a black woman and her roommate is a white male. My roommate, Kevin, spent nearly the whole of yesterday in his room, but he came out of his room to make us some food, and he started to cook food in the kitchen. He then placed the utensils and cutlery he used in the dishwasher. We ate, and he then went to dry and put away the things in the dishwasher. I got up and went in to get some juice. As I walked past him to go to the fridge, I noticed 2 dildos on one of the racks. Of course, as a sane person, I lost it. Kevin was confused as to why I was upset because he had been doing this forever. I've lived with Kevin for 2 years. Kevin thinks it's hygienic and normal. He doesn't seem to understand my outrage and shock. Like, I've been sipping juice, eating off of plates and cutlery with his and his millions of lovers' bodily fluids. How do I convince and explain to a grown man that you don't place adult toys in the dishwasher? And then OP posts an update. Kevin's agreed to wash his toys in the bathroom sink from now on. I showed him how I cleanse mine. Tomorrow, I'll be following and watching every move Kevin makes. Cause what else has this man been doing to me? OP, I feel your pain. Before I was a professional YouTuber, I worked at a big company. And one of the ladies there who had just had a baby was using the communal stuff in the kitchen to pump her breast milk. I've got nothing against mothers pumping breast milk for their kids, but do you really need to use the same dishes that everyone else in the office uses in the kitchen? Our next Reddit post is from Throwaway Jenkum. So I've been dating this girl for about 2 years now. We'll call her X. We also work together. There's also my best friend, who we'll call Z. Everything was going pretty well up until a few weeks ago. They would get off work at the same time and go to another bar with mutuals to have a couple drinks, which would then lead to them hanging out at his house without me. I work mornings, they work nights, so I can't really stay out too late. I trusted him with my heart that nothing would happen, so of course I was cool with it. Couple of weeks go by, and X revealed to me that she had feelings for him, but promised me nothing happened between them and she'll work on herself and us. Heartbroken and confused, I brush it off as a hit on the relationship, but I wanted to push onward and let her redeem herself. Fast forward to a couple days ago. Z tells me that they'd both went out a couple times a week to the bar and X had slept over on the couch a few times, and she'd been trying to make a move on my best friend. Of course, I trusted his word over hers as I've known him for almost half my life, and we've been through a lot. So today at work, one of our mutual friends who's pretty close to Z revealed to me that Z and X had also traded nudes and cuddled on the couch. Z had told him out of guilt one day when he was almost blackout drunk. I approached X as I was getting ready to leave while she's getting ready to go as well, that I can't trust her anymore, and left before I said anything I would regret. Dumbfounded and heartbroken yet again as neither X or Z had told me the truth, and I had to find out from a mutual friend what really went down. I left with no trust left with my best friend and my potential ex, and I don't know where to start. She's blowing up my phone and keeps insisting she loves me, and avidly shifts blame between her being drunk and her being stupid, and I keep ignoring it. I don't want to talk to her or anything. I want to talk to Z, but I don't even know if I can talk to him, let alone look him in the eyes. The two people I'm supposed to trust the most in my life right now, and they single-handedly destroyed that in a fraction of the time I spent building it. I'm incredibly lost right now, and I don't even know where to start. OP, the answer here is simple, but still incredibly hard. You need to just end your relationships with them. They both betrayed your trust in the worst way imaginable. So honestly, I don't really see how that relationship could be salvageable. Our next Reddit post is from Throwaway Wife Baby Trap. My wife baby trapped me. I put baby trap in quotation marks because I'm not sure what she did is the actual definition of baby trap. She didn't have a kid to make me stay, just against my will. So my wife, a 32-year-old female, and I, a 34-year-old male, have been together for 8 years. We have a little girl who's 5 and a baby boy who's 2. I love both of them more than anything, and I finally feel like I have everything. A beautiful wife, 2 healthy kids, a great career, and a big house. The token American dream, minus the dog. I'm allergic. When we talked about kids before, my wife always said she wanted 2. I only wanted 1. It would be easier and we'd have more money for vacations and stuff. But my wife maintained it's important for a child to have a sibling. I grew up with 4 and my wife with none, so I guess I understand where she's coming from. After our son and getting through the baby years and sleepless nights for the second time, I didn't want to ever go through that again. Both kids were very fussy and colicky. But when my son was a year old, my wife began casually mentioning a third. I would laugh it off, but finally she sat me down and said we have to have a third. I said no, we agreed on 2, but she said she wanted 4 and 3 is the compromise. I refused and said I wanted 1 and we have 2. She got angry and called me selfish for taking away her dream of wanting a big family. A couple of days later, she apologized and we passionately hugged. I noticed her drive increased exponentially, but so did mine, and I was happy to engage her. She was on birth control, I had a condom, it was all good. Thinking back on it, I probably should have figured something was up, but I was barely handling 2 little kids and work on top of housework and yard work and everything. I came home from work one day while the kids were at their grandparents'. My wife had a huge smile on her face and she sat me down and showed me a positive pregnancy test, literally dancing in joy. My first thought was, oh shit. My wife noticed a less than happy expression on my face and started screaming at me. She berated me for not being supportive and this was a miracle from God and I should be grateful. I said I was sorry and hugged her and said I was super excited for the baby. My wife was delighted and later that night she was calling all family and friends to happily tell them the news. When she started talking about the nursery and how we'll convert my office into a room, I started to get a little suspicious. Everything was so well thought out and it seemed like she'd been planning this for a while. When she was asleep, I took the condoms out of the cupboard and ran them underwater. Holes. I nabbed her phone and saw she'd set a password. That was odd. Nevertheless, my wife has a terrible memory, so I tried her birthday and it opened. Further up were texts with my best friend's wife complaining how I wouldn't come around. Her best friend suggested, quote, arrange on accident, end quote, winky face. My wife agreed and said she was going to come off of birth control. It went on for a little while, ending with my wife saying yes, we were going to have a third. So I woke her up immediately and asked her if this had really been a miracle. She got that deer in headlights look and burst into tears. She wailed, and then she got angry. Through tears, she screamed, I had no right to go through her phone, and it's her choice whether or not she wants to take birth control. The side effects are bad, and she was sick. She also brought up if I really didn't want a third kid, I should have had a vasectomy. She told me to go sleep on the couch. I laughed out loud and said, no, I'm sleeping here, you're leaving. So while wailing, she packed a bag and left to her parents. When she called the next day, I told her I just need some time to myself. She said that's fine, but I need to come around for our child. I told her I wasn't sure if it'd be our child, and she cried more. It's been 2 weeks since then. The government's recommended to stay home, and I knew staying home by myself while also working with 2 kids would not be ideal, and she wanted to see our kids. So we're in the same house. She constantly keeps stopping me from work and trying to get me excited for our kid, and planning the nursery and names and how happy our kids will be to get a younger sibling. I've been ignoring her entirely. What do I do? Staying home with her is bad enough, and I don't know if I should leave her over this. I don't trust her anymore. She entirely betrayed me. I'm angry, but I have another child on the way. OP, I don't want to make this recommendation lightly because it sounds like for the most part you have a happy family. But if I were in your shoes, yeah, I think I'd probably be looking at a divorce. It's not the kid so much that's the big deal, it's the blatant lying and manipulation. She lied to your face repeatedly, schemed with her friend, sabotaged your birth control, and then when you found out, tried to turn it against you. If my wife did that to me, I honestly don't see how I could ever trust her again. Anyone who could deceive their spouse on something so huge could easily deceive their spouse with just about anything else. So yeah, I think you might be looking at a deal breaker, OP. That was r/slash relationship advice, and if you like this video then hit that subscribe button because I put out new Reddit videos every single day.